All right, wrapping up our magic segment today with some Mardu Feather. Mardu refers to this color combination here of red, black, and white. Feather. Feather redeemed, our namesake card here. 3/4 flyer for 3. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets a creature you control, exile that card instead of putting it into your graveyard as it resolves. If you do, return it to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. So we use Feather to leverage cards like Defiant Strike, Fight as One, God's Willing, and then repeatable removal in Reckless Rage here to generate card advantage with this archetype. And then we have other tools like Soul-Scar Mage and 10th District Legionnaire that kind of pay us off for casting spells or targeting them. And then we've got Dreadhorde Arcanist here, which can flashback some of these things from the graveyard. One card that I'm sure we're going to get some questions about here is this submission is trying out some copies of Seasoned Hallowblade as opposed to the more traditional Adanto Vanguard that you see in a similar slot in this archetype. I'm not sure how this is going to go. So Seasoned Hallowblade can be better on defense because it blocks with 3 power and you're not paying life in order to give it indestructible. The other nice thing about Hallowblade versus Adanto Vanguard is that this is a human. So we have a pretty good mix of humans and non-humans, which lets Fight as One be marginally more powerful because this can give 2 things a bonus if you have a human and a non-human in play, which is nice. Yeah, a couple people commenting this is largely Boros Feather with Thoughtseize, Duress splashes. I mean, if you've seen, so the current Feather deck up on my website is Jeskai Feather. Jeskai Feather is red-white Feather with like Dorat and Opt. So like all Feather decks pretty much are base red-white with a third color as a small splash if they're playing a third color. So this one's trying the small splash for some black tools. Great, in it to win it. Oh, did I not update? Did I forget to export it? Yeah, it's the wrong list on Stream Decker, thank you. I'll fix that real quick. I'm just playing a tapped land on 1. Rather than shocking. See if I live to regret that. Yeah, I might live to regret that since they now have a Land War Elf and I drew a 10th District Legionnaire. It's hard to know, like, if I... And again, this is, you know, one of those things where, like, you have to make choices like this in the dark, and if you guess wrong, you get punished for it. Especially when you're playing interactive decks, this happens. So, like, if my opponent's playing a bunch of basic mountains and I shock Thoughtseize on 1, I feel terrible, right? That I've, like, spent 4 life to take a card out of their hand, so... Definitely a big downside to playing something like ladder matches as opposed to, yeah, see? Just like super just the most punished I could possibly have been for my sequencing here. Try and draw a land. Feels magic, man. How many lands is this deck on? It's on 22. Wargy likes to submit decks with 22. Yeah, I think 22 lands is not enough. This deck's playing 6 3-drops as well. I think 22 lands is very greedy in this archetype, especially when you have access to Triumph so you can cycle them late. I think 23 is probably the appropriate number. Reckless Rage. Some things die while others feel the pain. Reckless Rage. This game is over, by the way. Our opponent has died. It's gonna take us a couple of turns, but our opponent has died. How's rid of the Pyromancer deck? Fantastic. Felt really, really sweet. The build we played without Croxas and Knights felt like a good build. Yeah, most people don't play enough lands, in my opinion, Wargy. People really hate casting their spells. I'm a big fan of mitigating resource variance. This lethal feels lethal. Definitely lethal with that draw. Oh no, I've been to the other fight as well. That's sad. This is 7. Oh, this is 10. Yeah, they're dead. If we're supposed to have some hard removal spells in this sideboard. That looked polarizing. That's because it was incredibly polarizing. I'd rather have Bonecrusher than Lurrus. Like some Heartless Acts or something like that. Yeah, this deck has very lopsided matchups against creature decks that don't have a lot of removal in them, like this opponent's deck. Feather plus Reckless Rage just like punches the and takes over games. You know, like what enchantments do we need to be killing? You have the 2 destroy target enchantment / gain life / 1/1 counter card. Where is that card useful? I have to do this. Take a 6-ball here on turn 3. Remember, your triggers have to resolve with unit targets they're in, or they don't count. Sure, enchantment-based removal out of blue-white makes sense. Oh, ram through's an instant. I think we're dead there either way. I don't think it matters. Like, even if I'm aware that ram through's an instant, we still just die there. It doesn't matter, Coons. Like, what's my play there? Am I just like not blocking, or am I like blocking and like trading? Like all of that sucks. We're still dead. The only thing that happens if I realize ram through is an instant is I concede instead of playing that turn. That's the difference. Oh, maybe I'm supposed to take skews there. I guess I was expecting them not to be able to skews I was expecting them not to be able to scoose this turn. But then they drew Land War Elves, which is frustrating. Aaron O, thanks for the 24 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Yeah, so like, what does polarizing mean? Polarizing means the games aren't particularly close. It means it's a blowout on one side or the other. Which, if you think about how the average game of Magic tends to play out, there's a lot of polarization in the designs that exist today. I mean, how the average gameplay tends to look. Yeah, it's a blowout without someone making a bunch of mistakes, is a good way to put it. So, like, it was, someone got savaged and there was nothing they could do about it. Me too, Mr. Punny. A non-game, but both players had lands and spells. Yeah, it's another good way to phrase it. Agree with those assessments. Like, both decks got to do what they were trying to do, and it didn't really matter for one of them. Yeah, I agree, Wolfie, that good formats tend to have fewer polarizing matchups, and at the same time, a lot of Magic's formats recently have been very polarizing. If we draw, like, Feather this turn, we could be okay. Probably dead. Hasn't been too long. I guess Guilds of Ravnica Standard is kind of a decade ago. Hey, Meebo, thanks for the raid. Hope you had a good stream today. We need to just get our scry on here. That actually seems kind of okay. So this is only a 2/2 now. So I can play this out and hang tight here and like block, discard, etc. Hey, thanks for the Prime Digitech. I appreciate it. Yeah, I agree, Sunshine. Five set standard formats, I think, are some of my favorites in recent memory, which makes me kind of sad that they didn't experiment with the quicker rotations for longer than they did, because the smaller standard formats are definitely ones that I've enjoyed more in Magic's history. Yeah, Hallowblade looking much better than Adanto Vanguard would here, right? And now we play the waiting game. Opponent also a little flooded. So the 15 months, 16 months lock. Welcome back. JK, LOL. The waiting game is over. We are now dead to hungry dinos. Do I want to put a couple of pieces of spot removal on the sideboard? Here's a question, Worky. Do you think I need Flame Sweep to beat goblins? Is this a card that's necessary to beat goblins? Also, like, what are these Leyline of Sanctities doing? Where are we boarding these in? Is this for the Citadel matchup? Citadel matchup, right? Is the plan? Because they can't target us with that. It's for Citadel. I don't think you board this in against just Thoughtseize. That seems loose. Like, are you just boarding these in against just generic Thoughtseize decks? Red aggro. I can see it being okay against red aggro, I guess. Can I get these Flame Sweeps then for some Heartless Acts? I think that's going to be my trim. Yeah, it disables Priest too. Yeah, good against the sack deck. We'll leave that one there for now. I'm gonna cut the Flame Sweeps for Heartless X. I could see the Flame Sweeps being for the Goblins matchup, but I have to imagine the Goblins matchup is kind of okay for this, right? In the past, when we played against Goblins, it felt kind of okay. And the red Leyline, better than white in this little matchup? Not necessarily. It's better when they're, like, trying to combo kill you explicitly, but probably worse when they just, like, have a priest in play and are, like, killing your things with it. As is often the case, it's not strictly better, strictly worse. It's a case of, you know, sometimes better, sometimes worse. Just gonna go ahead and cycle this Defiant Strike here. If I wait a turn to cycle it, I technically get in one more point of damage, but I think I'll just use my mana this time through. Nailed it. I don't think there's any reason to hold up Fight as one next turn, right? Just gonna play this tapped and pass. Are they dead? This is +3, this is +4, this is +4. So yeah, they're dead. Not bad. Turn 4 kill through your birth. There might be something to this Soul-Scar Mage card, chat. Well, and this is like the appeal to this archetype, right? Like, our deck's actually not just linear, but it occasionally has linear draws, is the idea. So, like, our deck with things like Reckless Rage, in fact, the appeal to playing this archetype is that, in general, it has lots of really interactive draws, but it also sometimes just does that and boops them. So, is this an all the rages out matchup? Probably. What are my other two cuts? These feel like the things I want. I'm bringing in a Adanto Vanguard. Maybe I trim a threat. Maybe like one Arcanist comes out. Leaves me with 10 twos. And spells are lower than 15. I trim a Feather. That's fair. I don't hate that, especially with extra Lurrus at the top end. I like that suggestion. We're bringing in some extra threats anyways. It's a great draw. We should triple land. Stop it, greedy. Cycling sensor seems pretty good at this point. Yeah, it's definitely true, Dr. Mr. Bunny. The path to sample things yourself, you have to be, like, pretty confident you're gonna like something to justify crafting at an arena unless you're spending incredible amounts of money. Settle the Wreckage. I guess we have discard spells. So I'd say Settle the Wreckage is a big reason to want counter spells or something like Girl Spellbreaker, but we have discard spells too. That game was more a testament to the fact that drawing 9 lands is not good than anything. Leyline of Sanctity beats Settle. Yeah, I don't think that's worthwhile. They're probably like 2 or 3 Settle at most. Super narrow. Alright, we're playing Mardu Gates, but hey, Panda, thanks for the sub gift. I appreciate it. Pretty sure this is a keep. Take their sustained source of card advantage here. We'll send both of these at Narset to prevent her from drawing another card.
And ill-refined.
Maybe I'm supposed to Light a Hope this there. Yeah, I think that was a mistake. I think I was supposed to Light a Hope to kill their wall. Maybe they'll just cast Wrath of God and then I get paid off. Oh, it would have killed the Planeswalker too. That's a good observation. There isn't a basic land in my deck, is there? You're killing me, Wargy. Is there one? Oh, we got one. Saved by the planes, chat. Nah, I think 1 basic's fine. Should have done this last turn. This would be dead, and I wouldn't have the wall there this turn, but better late than never. Sure. I kill her Narset so I can draw cards. Really getting punished for my mistake a couple of turns ago. Hey, let's rate. By the way, I don't know if you weren't in chat, so I assume you weren't here earlier today, but your Pyromancer deck was stellar. Really, really very impressed with it. Knight of the Ebon Legion's a real good card. This card settled the wreckage. They're just punking me. Really surprised they didn't make a token with Castle there and triple block this. Feel like that's a mistake on their part. You spent 2 hours waiting in line for a COVID test. I hope everything's okay. We have an incredibly high positivity rate in our county now since all the college kids came back. I'm gonna make them censor here. Theater of Horrors. That's kind of a sweet one. It's a card that Teferi made really bad. That's probably fine. Don't settle my wreckage. Please and thank you. Rude. I feel so excluded, chat. Things that aren't quite Cryptic Command for 100. gonna play around, settle the wreckage here. I should have done this at enter combat, because if they settle me in response, I lose my fight as one. So I would have fight as one. Yeah, Andrew's one of my buddies that used to travel to play paper Magic stuff with me. So I would have another fight as one in hand here if I had sequenced appropriately. Feels bad, man. And now Elspeth just like comes up the board for forever, so we're hoping to draw a God's Willing.
My prowess is unmatched. Keep an open mind.
That's garbage time, right? They get to commit something, and then they get to memory to draw 7 cards next turn. Yep. These are the types of games that they wanted to add back to the format. Opponent's archetype is the type of deck that was bullied out by Field of the Dead. Yeah, I agree. Alien, I responded to one of Alien Drowsy's posts last night. Like, in general, as far as, like, playing with Field of the Dead went, I was pretty neutral. I didn't really love the card, but I didn't hate it. But I definitely dislike the types of decks that Field pushed out of the format, I think are incredibly obnoxious on average. I think that it was a net positive to have them pushed out of the format. Hey, Penguin Power, thanks for the 15 months. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Nah, just some other ramp deck. Probably gonna get Languished or Extinction Evented next turn. Feel sad. Hopefully it's Ritual Asset so we can save the Seasoned Hallowblade. Just a piece of spot removal. God bless us, everyone. Hello, lovely wife. And teacher of our wonderful children.
I had to come down and spell something for Declan on Minecraft, and I couldn't figure out what he was saying. I almost had him come in here so that somebody who's familiar with the items in the game could be like, oh, he's probably saying this. Because I needed context clues, but I figured it out.
What was he looking for?
Well, he was saying affection free, but it's protection 3.
Oh, yeah, he was looking for a rune.
It's a book.
Yeah.
I finally got the protection part, and so I only typed in protection. I was like, oh, were you saying 3, not free? And he's like, yes. Because when I said protection free, he's like, yes, but you're really not saying it right. Like, well, that's what I'm asking you, if I'm saying it right.
So, I think I'm supposed to play Feather here, and then we just, like, curl up in a little ball and cry when they play Languish. Eyeball means they know it's in my hand. Feather means we win through Extinction Event, though. And Seasoned Blade means we win through Ritual of Soot. So we're just, like, hoping they have one of the 2 sweepers that we can beat and not the 3rd one that we can't.
I like your battle board.
Yeah. There are a lot of cool battle boards. Shame you can't pick the ones you like.
Yeah, that other one sucks.
Christy is very good at wrangling nerds during the Hooglandia tournaments. I agree. We are lucky to have her. Alright, so I think this is a Duress Vanguard in matchup. Probably just Reckless Rage out. They don't really have that many threats that I care about. We're just mostly looking to run them down. I think that's the plan.
I just noticed your message when Declan made me come down and spell something, Beansy, so I have my message history with Jeff pulled up with the code, but okay. I'll ignore it.
When are we going to give her a raise? I intend to double her salary for the next open.
Nice.
Fun fact, because I believe in paying people for their work, Christy's actually the only member of our staff that doesn't get paid. We paid the commentator and Klutz. You kinda get the sub money. I think I want to keep 2 discard spells here.
Can you pay me in sleep?
Can I pay you in sleep? Yes. We can work on that. Disfigure. Rude. Probably just gotta be Languish.
Hugs and kisses. It's like 100 degrees upstairs.
They see it.
I did. Can't you hear it running?
I can, but chat can't because of our wonderful RTX voice. I need to weed my window. Yeah, there's.
You need to weed your window well again. Say that 4 times fast. Weed your window well.
Weed the window well.
4 times.
4 times? Nah, I only got 1. Really glad we took the Languish from them at this point. I wonder if we'll see them burn the Disfigure for a turn just to stop Dreadhorde Arcanist from duressing them. Could potentially be something that we see happen. That being said, I don't know how we're really going to beat this Uro. He said, wondering why the card remains legal at all formats where it is legal.
Do you remember you complained to me that I wasn't buying this for you fast enough and it's still sitting here in the plastic wrap a month later?
Did you judge me?
I'm judging. What are these for?
No idea.
Where'd it come from?
No idea.
What are they?
No idea.
Why do you have them?
No, not a clue. I think I take the Disfigure here, and then next turn we can flashback Thoughtseize and take the Cry out of their hand. We just like pass for the turn here.
The kazoo.
Oh, they're from the Kazoo. That's definitely what they're from.
Love you.
Love you too, wifey. Till 5. Till 5 every day this week.
Live till 5 or upstairs?
Live till 5. Live till 5. And I just can't win at this point, right? I can't race this, gaining life and attacking for 6 and providing them with endless cards. Am I supposed to bring in removal? Am I supposed to have like have Uro removal in my deck? I feel like the answer is no. I'm supposed to like try and get under it. It's just hard to get under Uro and then like have spot removal and sweepers too. Yeah, like, the problem is, like, you have Graveyard Hate for their Uro, so, like, their Uro gained them 3 life and ramped them and drew them a card, and then I spend a card answering it? Like, I don't win those games either most of the time, right? Like, I don't feel like that's a winning play. I feel like most of the games where that happens, I still lose. And, like, God forbid we have a game where, like, we draw our Graveyard Hate and the Uro doesn't show up. I think we're just supposed to hope to dodge it. I mean, cross your fingers, clench your butt cheeks, and hope they don't have it as a tried and true Magic the Gathering strategy. I think because I have 2 fight as 1, and the extra land, I'm supposed to wait to play the 10th District Legionnaire out here, he says, before getting Thoughtseized. Not getting Thoughtseized, fist pump. Defender of Cats, thanks for the 5 months, I appreciate that. Welcome back, thanks for keeping me around. Yeah, you and me both, Bill Smash. I've got 2 Orion Sol build-arounds. One is specifically for War Mother's control. I need to figure out what I want to do with the other one. I feel like there's a few different shells we could try him in. Probably a Thresh shell for the other one is probably his most natural home. If I had to venture a guess. Opponent doesn't have a 3rd land. Yay, resource variance. Thanks, Defender. I appreciate it. Thanks for trying to save our democracy. Arizona is typically a red state, right? But I know there's also been more tech being added in that area. So I would imagine it's getting closer than it has been. Same thing with, like, what's happening in Dallas. Sprata, thanks for the 10 months. Decided to renew my Amazon Prime, decided to throw a sub at you, even though I'm not paying attention to Magic at the moment. Well, I appreciate it, either way. Free $1 dues. Make sure if you've got Amazon Prime like Sprata there, link it up to your Twitch account and drop it off somewhere every month. Think of it as taking a couple of bucks from Jeff Bezos and shipping it to someone here on Twitch making stuff. Lord knows we need it more than he does. Probably Red-Black Pyromancer if I had to venture a guess. Yep. It's a good draw. We currently have almost a 30-30-30 split between Democrat, Republican, and Independent. Be curious to see how often people who claim mark Independent actually vote Democrat, though. I feel like my gut feels like that would be a pretty low percentage, but it's just a gut feeling. So we're definitely killing this. The question is, am I holding up God's Willing? I feel like the answer is no. I just like tap land pass here. Herbson, thanks for the brand new Prime support. Welcome to Oglandia. Hope you're staying safe out there. Yeah, we were talking in the politics channel in Discord the other night, and like, ideally, if we had sufficiently advanced as a society, we would be like having a discussion of like progressive values versus neoliberal corporate shills. But instead, the world in which we currently live, neoliberals and progressives have had to team up to fight literal fascism. So like, it's definitely not an ideal spot to be in terms of history. This is potentially why it could be worth holding up God's Willing, but at the same time, getting the claim to fame out of their hand before I play Feather or Lurrus is appealing. 5-7, thanks for the brand new Prime support, I appreciate that. Welcome to Oglandia. I should really make a point to do the make sure you spend your Prime somewhere speech more often on stream. Yes, yeah, looks like Red-Black Pyromancer with the probably Croxus Citrus Supplier Shell. Playing the Feather out here could be a little bit risky if they have another claim, but if we get to untap with Feather, the upside's really high. So I like jamming it since they already played one claim. Oh, Innocent Blood. God, Innocent Blood is absurd against us, huh? T-Chen, thanks for the 2/3 of a year. Welcome back. It's brutal. Yeah, this matchup's probably bad for us, I'd imagine. Innocent Blood is like really, really good against us. None of our protection works against it. There are 5 days left and you're about 500. You're probably a little on the low side. I'd probably want to be like top 2 or 300, Zach, at this point. 500's probably good in the last day, but the way the ranking system works, the lower you are, the faster you fall. And I would imagine if you stop playing right now, I would expect you to fall out of the top 1200. Hey, Catter, thanks for the 3/4 year. I appreciate that. And to our new subs of all kinds, or our returning subs, if you're not in the Discord server, you should pop in there. Talk about stuff like Magic and other games in there all the time. We have pretty dedicated gaming communities in there for Magic, Runeterra, Pokemon Go, and Raid Shadow Legends at this point. There's a bunch of subs that play and talk about all those things. If you're someone doing remote raids in Pokemon Go, my wife coordinates those with other people in there a good bit of the time. I'm not super into Pokemon Go personally, but Christy really is. Feel kind of dead at this point. Like I don't know how I beat this Priest plus Lurrus. Yeah, Leyline of Sanctity is probably good here. It shuts off Priest, and it shuts off Thoughtseize, which is nice. You know, honestly, I think I'm just gonna fight as one here. Get my Scry on, be aggressive. Need to find a Reckless Rage ASAP. I think this game's just too far gone. Unchecked Lurrus on their side of the board, just too much value. It's just an all Doomblades on deck matchup. I think this is actually a Thoughtseize out matchup because their hand tends to get empty pretty quickly, and like we saw that game, being able to interact with their things that they have on board ends up being pretty important a lot of the time. Seasoned Hallowblade doesn't really attack well into their 1/1, so I think I trimmed that out. I also don't want to be discarding cards to protect it. Adanto Vanguard, I could take or leave. I need to cut 3 more cards here still. It's a lot of cuts. Maybe Fight as one isn't stellar. They don't have a ton of destruction base removal. They have a lot of sacrifices and like claims and stuff, and Fight as one doesn't do anything against either of those cards. Yeah, I agree. Indestructible is not stellar here. If I trim a Feather, if I'm cutting that, Feather plus Rage is probably good enough that I don't want to do that. Let me just get rid of 3 fights. Let's do that. See how this goes. Okay, we got some stuff. Let's try and spike a land drop or 2 here. Thanks, Defender. Stay safe out there. It's a good pickup. Just need to run off a couple of lands here in a row. Not anything of particular use in there just yet. Filling up the bin for a potential Croxa down the line, though. Okay, nailed it. How about if I Reckless Rage? So the way Dreadhorde and Feather work, next turn I can Feather, Flashback, Reckless Rage, and redraw it, which is nice. And it might be right to save the Defiant Strike for that same thing down the line, but I kind of like cantripping through here to try and hit my land drops like we did here. That's super unfortunate. So they get to take my Feather here, but at the very least I get to attack through next turn, which is nice still. So I assume we're going to lose Feather, if they understand how our deck works. If they don't understand how our deck works, they'll take Fight as one. Crockett, thank you for the 16 months. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. All right, confirmed. Confirmed does not understand how our deck works. Why is it lighting up my Clifftop Retreat, chat? Why is this circled in red? I have white, white, red floating. Why is it lighting up my Clifftop Retreat? Alright, I turned off Auto Tapper, and I'm turning on Full Control. Okay. Thanks. Shouldn't have to do that. Good quality software here. Blood Crypt can only cast non-creature spells, obviously. Yeah, exactly. Orox, thank you for the 32 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Okay, I think that's about what an ideal game looks like for us in that setup. I think having lots of removal is key. Obviously getting Feather online is not bad either. Yeah, that would be great, Percy. It's just like everything I upload defaults to public. That would be perfect. This doesn't have removal, but it has all of our colors. It's got these. What would that turn have looked like if the opponent took Feather? Very similar. We would have still flashback Reckless Rage and killed the Pyromancer, and then we probably would have used Fight as one to save whatever they blocked with the 1/1 token. There's not a referral code for Runeterra, no. Only the very first segment I did with them was a sponsored segment. Everything else since then has just been because myself and many others who watched the stream have enjoyed it. Don't Legions end me. Please and thank you. Get Innocent Blooded. I'm just supposed to jam this. If I get disfigured, I'm a little sad. It's a great draw. This was a good draw. One good draw deserves another, I suppose. So what's our best pickup from here? Reckless Rage, almost assuredly. Any piece of spot removal for this would be nice. Thanks, Percy. I'll check that out after the stream. Nailed it. Easy game, chat. Easy game. The fact that this is their play for the turn is, like, really telling how bad their hand is. Reckless Rage! Some things die while others feel the pain. Reckless Rage! Feather. Really good against creature decks that don't have removal for Feather. I really wish, and I've said this before, I wish there was a way to just, like, see into the future and, like, know which decks are going to be dumpster fires and which ones aren't. Because, like, today, all three of the decks we've played today have felt reasonable. And, like, yesterday, we were 3 for 3 on the decks we played being dumpster fires. I'd like if I could just, like, balance that out a little bit. Just, like, get at least one good deck per day and, like, spread the dumpster fires out over the course of a week. Yeah, someone else in chat said they're having some login issues with Runeterra. Hit that now, actually, and see if it loads up for me or not. Maybe we'll have to pause. I'm gonna play a bunch of that tomorrow. Let's see if it lets me in. Speaking of Citadel, here's a Citadel matchup. First time playing this today. Good to see if our Leyline of Sanctities do some work here. This is the matchup that they're ideally in the board for. Do you ever get lonely when you see MTJ tells you have 0 friends? Nah, it's just like real life. Is Vito in the Citadel deck a win more card? Nah, I don't think so. That's why Christy and I had a third kid, so I could have a 4th friend, chat. Although the boys these days would rather play Switch games with each other than with me for the most part, which has been a little sad. Logging in after the update. How do you get the update if you can't log in? Yeah, it looks like mine's not letting me log in at the moment either. Is there a way to force it to update silence? Or just gotta wait? Crunch. I think I just do that. Smack them for a bunch, right? This is +4. This is +3. I guess I'd rather draw an extra card and get one less damage. Maybe try and draw just a Reckless Rage. Nailed it. That's fine. Christy would be pleased if I ended early today. She's got a meeting tonight. So they're dead then, right? We'll give this protection from green and kill them. There's a lot of ways to eat this Reese's, chat. The gods will it, opponent. You are dead. Might have company. That's true. Bad company. Till the day they die. This is a huge missequencing on my opponent's part. I have not resolved God's Willing yet, so I haven't picked what color I'm getting protection from yet. So if they like find 2 black cards here. Okay, so they found varied colors of things, but my opponent should have waited to company until after I resolved my God's Willing. They're probably still dead, so they're conceding, but worth noting what their sequencing looks like there. Abrade sounds great. Is this a Thoughtseize matchup? Is it crazy to cut Thoughtseize here? I feel like that's not crazy. What do we think of this board plan? It's like bring in Leylines of Abrade to Heartless Act. Well, they had a flying blocker too, Ridgel. Yeah, I think I'd just rather have things that play to the board, Morgie. You agree? What set is company from? Originally Dragons of Tarkir, I believe. On Arena, it was in Amonkhet Remastered. I don't think Bonecrusher is good enough because it doesn't kill Mayhem Devil, and it's really bad against Roast Rider. I think if I want another piece of removal, it's definitely Heartless Act. But I don't really know what I want to cut for it. I guess Fight is one is only okay. Yeah, we'll definitely look at the Runeterra patch notes. 100% do that, even if my client's not logging in still. They only had 2 blockers, you had 3 attackers. They had a goat, a woe strider, and a goose. How could you forget the goat? How has this deck felt? It's definitely felt playable. I kind of feel like it's probably worse than... I feel like what this deck is doing feels like it has a lot of parallels to the Pyromancer deck we played in the set before this, where this is an aggressive deck with disruptive elements. And I think I prefer the Pyromancer build overall. The Pyromancer deck has a little bit average, higher higher average card quality. ETB is enter the battlefield. I'm gonna go ahead and play Godless Shrine here as opposed to the Triome, because I'm pretty sure we're on the cycle of the Triome plan at this point. Well, that's incredibly unfortunate. This isn't too terrible. They'll block with one. Oh, they're not blocking. Okay. Interesting. I was gonna say, if they block with one, we Reckless Rage the other and then trade. Is this a run back here of what they did last turn? They're like sack the Bonecrusher and then collect a company again? Hey, either way, I'm just sitting. I'm down to 8. I need to play defense a little bit. As you will, opponent. Whoop. I'm probably keeping that, right? Like, claim the firstborn is how I lose this. This definitely feels like a congrats you played yourself turn. I guess they have enough mana here to, like... I guess they're gonna have enough mana here to, like, escape these back, so it's probably not a big deal. Yeah, I think we're still behind at this point. Because their Blood Artist is a free sack. This is just literally not doing anything. So we need to draw Feather Redeemed here, or Lurrus. Feather or Lurrus are both good. Good draws. Well, you don't sacrifice things to Priest until you pick your target. So, like, if they try to activate Priest, they're going to realize it doesn't work. They still have 4 cards in here. Any number of target players lose 2 life and sacrifice a creature. Oh yeah, they can activate this targeting no one just to draw a card. That is a legal play. Resource variance is fun. It's something I enjoy. Yeah, the Abzan is definitely better against Leyline of Sanctity. That is true. I need to just draw a creature. I need a spell, chat. I need spells. Spells would be great. Fun times are had by all. All right, we'll get him game 3, huh? We'll get him game 3 on the play. Leyline would have been very good there. Like, the only reason we were in that game as long as we were in that game was because of Leyline of Sanctity. Tan looks good. Bottom Heartless Act here, I think. We're a real non-rotating format, chat. We've got ley lines. We've got so many Crystal Bullet hate cards in this game. Just like modern, chat. We've got ley lines and rested pieces and Grafdigger's Cage and players crossing their fingers and hoping to dodge sideboard cards. Just supposed to Reckless Rage here and not flash it back. The problem with that is if I Rage and then they kill my Arcanist, I lose the Rage. I guess if they have Phyrexian Tower here, they can cast Citadel. Out of here. Okay, this turn could have gone worse. They, for whatever reason, elected to shoot my Soul-Scar Mage that I wasn't targeting with Reckless Rage initially. And like, I've got Feather left over, which is nice. Maybe they thought my Rage wasn't going to resolve. Let's see that. Really hoping to draw an untapped white source next turn so we can win by Reckless Rage. Opponent does still have 4 cards in hand, chat, and they've got Woe Strider in the board, in the bin, and plenty of ways to escape it. It's like, we're definitely not in the clear just yet. Yep. This is quite literally, in fact, Magic how Richard Garfield intended it to be played. Just the most literal sense possible. Trading 8 Mayhem Devil for a Soul-Scar Mage here seems loose. Doesn't matter because we don't have lands. I guess we get to do this. So, like, because they threw away their other Mayhem Devil, we might have a shot here, maybe, possibly. The next card is going to be the Savai Triome, chat. For those of you that are new and haven't experienced this before, the next card is 1000% one of our 2-tapped lands. Yeah, or another Blood Crypt. Those are the only 2 options for our next draw step. Hashtag sometimes lucky. Sometimes the luckiest. How's the historic medic so far after the ban? Lots of Bant, Ramp, and blue-white base control. So blue-white, Esper, and Bant control have all been fairly popular. Okay. Oh, we're halfway there. Oh, living on a prayer. Take my hand. We'll make it, I swear. This is actually our first matchup against Citadel today, and we've been playing Historic for almost 5 hours. Kind of surprised me. I mean, that was their explicit goal, Mask. Their explicit goal in banning Field was to put more control decks in the format. Literally said that point blank in their unban announcement. They knew what they were doing. I don't know if I agree that Embercleave is underplayed. I think aggressive decks in general are underplayed. I think both the Gruul and Black-Red aggro decks that are up on the proven section of my website are good choices. It took us double digits worth of turns to find a third land, but our opponent also fumbled and bumbled enough to get there. This deck seemed playable. Feather in general, I think, is a very reasonable archetype. I feel like there are two standouts to me from this set. First, I don't know that I'm sold necessarily on Thoughtseize in this archetype. I'm not sure that I love black as the third color splash. The two things that stand out to me, though, is that Lurrus the Dream Den as a main deckable card definitely felt very reasonable, and I feel like I would explore playing copies of Lurrus in the other builds of Feather that I have, such as like the Jeskai build on my site. Leyline of Sanctity also seems quite good. If the Citadel slash Sack deck are going to be prevalent in the format, this seems potentially fine. I don't know that I'd call it good. Lurrus definitely felt good, but Leyline could be something worth considering and exploring in other places. Yeah, I feel like, especially in the Jeskai Feather build, where you have like Dorat and 10th District Legionnaire, I feel like Stormwing Entity had been a little bit middling in this archetype. Perhaps playing some Lurrus at the top end instead of the Stormwing Entity could be correct in this Jeskai build. I think is potentially something that I could. Yeah, more of Evasion is really good right now. And Stormwing Entity, even though it's evasive, is a little bit clunky, but I do love Dorat. I think Opt is very good in these decks that have like wrong half problems, but Lurrus was definitely a takeaway for me as this felt good. I would try some more Lurrus in the main deck in these other colors. All right. At any rate, that's gonna wrap Magic for today. I'm gonna take a peek